back out here working on the generator room. In fact, we've got a lot of work to do around the property. Winter's closing in and it's time to button up some loose ends we've got going on around here. Last time we were working on the generator, we were having some troubles with getting fuel to the generator. I asked for you guys' help. You didn't disappoint. Gave us so many good ideas and so many things to think about. The option that we're gonna go with, I feel like, is gonna be the cheapest and the easiest. We've already taken out all the old metal 1/2-inch fuel line. We're gonna be running 1/4-inch rubber fuel line from the generator to the tank, but this time we're gonna feed off the bottom of the tank. We're gonna get a little bit of pressure that way, and hopefully the generator has no problem running. So let's head outside. Well, here's our system. This is going to utilize the filter that's actually for the Toyo boiler that we're going to install when we do the in-floor heat. So the generator has the fuel filter on it, and now it's going to have this filter here. I think this filter is more of a water separator filter, but it does do some like particle filtering too, it says on the box. And it's at the bottom of the tank, so we're going to get pressure already going to the generator, which is going to help us out. We've got 2 valves. We've got one that's going to be off. That's going to go to the Toyo when we install it. And then we've got one right here that's going to go to the generator. The valve's off right now. We'll turn it on in a minute. And then it goes down to a 1/4-inch nipple, and we're going to connect our fuel line right here. This is going to be a return for the fuel going back into the tank. We're going to put it up at the top. We're also going to connect the 1/4-inch rubber hose to right here. It's going to go down to here, and it's going to drain back into the tank. This one's open for now. We'll have to get a little cap so we can plug that so water doesn't get in there. We're sealing her up. Okay, that's not a good sign already. That's off. Dang it, spilled fuel over everything. Scary. We've got fuel onto the filter. We're gonna leave this one off because that goes to the Toyo. Let's turn the fuel on to the generator. Let's go inside and test her out. Understandable. Took all the fuel out, right? Okay, I think she's gonna run fine. I'm pretty sure what's happening is because I have those wires jumped. Oh. The solar's telling, like saying, hey, we don't want any power, but this thing's trying to push power to it. Got it. So I think we need to hook that into where it goes and then just tell the solar to charge like 60%. Okay, so something's going on. Recording. This will start to kick on. Well, I'm going to call that a success, folks. We're going to let it run for about 20 minutes and make sure that everything's working the way it's supposed to. I was having a little bit of trouble with the generator hooking into the inverter. It was throwing a code. It was one of 2 things because I found 2 things that were going on. It was either me switching the input back to grid where it's supposed to be. I had it on the generator side, or it was a loose neutral wire that I found. So I tightened that one up. It seems to be running good now. We're charging the batteries. I have it set at 80 amps right now, and it says that that's giving us about a little over 4,000 watts of power coming in, which is great. We're also gonna let it run for a little bit to warm up the oil. This is a new to us generator, so we're gonna do a little bit of maintenance on it. Oil change, and just give it a look over, make sure she's running good for us. Looks like it's going to be pretty tight quarters working on this generator, and the first thing we're going to do is replace our little coolant reservoir tank, and that's because sometime, somewhere, we cracked the old one. I'm pretty sure it was when we were transporting it up here. This is pretty simple. I already got the old one off. I did try to fix the old one with some clear JB weld, but I don't think it's holding very well, and it cracked where it slips on and holds onto the generator. So we got a new one. Let's slide it on real quick. Oh yeah, there we go. Wait, what the heck? This hose isn't long enough on the new one?
You just swap out the old hose?
Yeah, but come on, man, for $100. We're gonna do an oil change, and to change the oil on these generators, this one has some crazy little contraption. So the drain plug is down there and it goes into this hydraulic looking hose, and it's got this fitting on the end, and I've tried to do some research on what this fitting is. I can't really figure it out. There's got to be some sort of like machine that hooks onto it, but if you take a screwdriver or something, you push this little piece in, you see the oil starts to come out. I did order a pump for pumping the oil out of this, but it hasn't arrived yet, so we're going to change it without that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cap off. Looks like I can unbolt it a little further in, and then I'm just going to run like some sort of cap on there. And then when we want to change the oil, I'll kind of hold the hose up. I'll run the little pump I have down in there, and then we'll be pumping the oil out. We're going to do it that way because it's really tight underneath that generator. I don't even think this little oil pan would fit into there. So let's see if we can get this unbolted and get the oil drained out. Oh, come on. Okay, there it goes.
It hasn't been done all.
I'm sure it hasn't been done. So I'm just trying to figure out this little... So that's not gonna work. Oh, jeez.
Whoa.
The heck? Okay. She's gonna play hardball with us here. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, that's what I thought. Better get off there. Oh shoot, I'm going the wrong way is what's going on here. 𝐻𝐢𝐯. A little oil on there to get the good seal. Thank you. Everything went well out here today, and the oil change on this generator is every 200 hours you're supposed to change the oil, and then every 400 hours you change the oil and the oil filter. So that's what we're going to do on her. Takes 5 quarts of oil to fill it up, which isn't too bad. And the last thing we're going to do on the generator is we're going to strap the exhaust step. Just needs a little more. See that gap right there?
You can...
Compared to that one has no gap. That one has a gap. I think we just gotta push that.
We're moving on to something that we've been meaning to do for a while. Now that it's getting chilly, we're making it happen. So these are the brushes that the shop door came with, and we just haven't put them up. This one has like a flat metal piece, so it's for the top of the shop door, and this is angled. That's gonna go snugly along the side. This is gonna help keep like a nice snug fit and minimize the air gap a little bit.
Okay, so if we go inside real quick and...
We gotta go inside? I just heard a rooster crow.
I got it as tight as I can get it, and then as long as the door opens smoothly, we should be good to go.
For some reason the middle is the gap. I think that's...
The middle is a gap because of the beam, I think. That's impressive. I like that.
Oh, that fits just really nice there, hon. Huh.
Oh yeah, our garage door is officially all sealed up. I'm pretty sure that I actually noticed a difference now. Before, it was kind of like sucking the air out of the shop and you could feel like a little bit of a cold breeze. And then the bottom of the door has this nice big rubbery gasket, I guess we'll call it. Look how soft that thing is. So the bottom seal's nice. We've been heating the shop for about a month or so, but the door to the seed room has been shut, and that's because the seed room isn't really sealed up at all. We have to do some blocking over here, so there's some big gaps and it just gets really cold out here. But we want to be able to leave this door open and basically heat the seed room with our stove going so Arielle can have some plants out here and we can start working out here. And when we built this, we had some issues with our rafters. Not really issues, it's basically our Simpson strong ties, our rafter hangers. They didn't fit our full 2-inch lumber. They were built for 1.5-inch lumber, so we don't have anything supporting those. And reading the comments, we learned about something called pressure blocking, and that's what we're gonna do. see if we can get it done. I'm gonna go get the air compressor fired up. We're using nails.
Check that out.
Right here is a little over 6. You go away to the front and go straight up, you're looking at
At the way edge of
the way back 4.
Well, that went super quick, so we're moving on to the blocking, and we didn't really quite know what we were gonna do. Eric finally figured it out. We're going to have to run over to the sawmill and cut 2 pieces of lumber that are just under 5 inches. So a full 2 by 6 won't fit in there at the angle that we cut our rafters, because we kind of notched them in to fit on that top plate of this wall. So we're gonna head over.
Hair over 5.
You have the bottom kicked out.
That's what I'm asking you, yeah.
Take the top out. Okay.
No, it's 14 because this one's.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, it's a perfect fit. My face? What?
The look you're giving me.
Things are going our way today. We are getting a lot done. We spray foamed around the blocking. The seed room is officially sealed in. We're getting materials ready for tomorrow. We're gonna be doing some foam board. And right now we are spending a little bit of energy around the windows. So when we cut these in, we tried to leave about 1/4 inch around each side. That didn't quite happen. So the areas that we can fit some backer rod, which is really similar to like a pool noodle, we are doing that. But if we can't fit it, we're just gonna do a little bit of that spray foam. And if the space is big enough and allows for it, we'll kind of pinch this in, and then we will go back with some spray foam on top of it. I'm a pretty big fan of this stuff so far. This is our first time using it, and I feel like with this and the spray foam, we're really gonna get a good combination for air sealing around the windows. I was thinking these windows, you don't, it's like with windows, you don't really want it too big or too small. Obviously you don't want it too small, because if it's too small, you're not putting a window in there. But you don't really want, could you imagine putting these windows in and having like 1/2 inch on each side? It is like a marshmallow, huh? Oh, I don't know if I have enough thumb strength for this.
Ready? Last night before we left the shop, I decided to run the generator for a little while and charge up the batteries. I think we're at about 50% on them. And that was actually only the second time we've used the generator to charge the batteries. We had it running and all of a sudden I started to notice some smoke in our shop, and it was coming from the stove that we had going, and I shined a light up there, and at the top kind of like corner where it goes to go outside, there was a bunch of smoke coming in, and we figured it out. What's happening is the generator is so powerful and it requires so much air that it's trying to suck air from wherever it can, and it wasn't sucking it from the front door or the roll-up door. It was sucking it somehow down through the chimney and through the little cracks, pulling a bunch of smoke into the shop. So what I did is I opened the door to the seed room and I opened a window out there, and it vented the air from there and it stopped smoking in here. So what that means is we need to figure something out, and we need some sort of intake vent when we're running the generator. Another big day out here, we're moving on to foam. Decided to go with foam board insulation for the roof in the seed room, and the first one we're putting up is 3 inches thick, and this one has an R value of R15, and then we're gonna put another sheet on, and that's gonna be a 2-inch. We should end up with R25 for insulation in the roof, which should be pretty good. And we're putting glue on there. This is foam board glue. It's not sticking right away, so what I'm doing is sticking them up there, and then we're putting like 2 or 3 screws in at an angle into the rafters to hold them up.
So Eric's cutting these little squares. These are going to be the part that will finish off that rafter space. And then we've got to spray foam little gaps and stuff like that. It's actually fitting really nicely up there. And then we will be doing our second round of the 2-inch foam.
Upside down, yeah.
Yeah, we're good to go? Like everything else was
Yeah, we're going double up here.
Mirror to be in there all the way.
Hit yours up.
Oh, you need me to hit it?
Oh yeah. For like some sort of commercial applications.
Nice. And then we just have the walls, which will be nothing compared to this. This took 3 times as long as the first round.
Oh, because we're foaming it and everything. Seen on this one.
That, my friend, is what they call a cute angle.
Whoa, that's definitely a friction fit, huh?
That's a really nice one, yeah. So the second layer of foam took a lot longer. There's two different ways you can kind of do this. You can do what's called like a friction fit, and that's where it's really snug. It's kind of hard to get in there, but if you do it that way, you don't usually have to come back and do the spray foam. Where if you leave intentionally a little bit of space around the foam, you gotta come back and do some spray foam, and it is super unfun to spray that upside down. So we had a really hard time doing the roof, but now we're on to the easy stuff, which is the wall. I told you,
Jeez.
I don't like great stuff. That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
I remember that with the chicken coop.
So this
Because
one,
there's another project down the road, I'm sure we'll be like, hey, you want some of that pink foam?
yeah. So this one needs to be 15 1/4.
This is not.
See if I have anything around there. Things are looking great out here. We've got everything cleaned up this morning, and one of the final steps that we are going to do is spray a product on the floor and maybe a little bit of the brick wall called Stealth Seal, and it's a concrete sealer. Okay, let that dry and we'll hit it again.
We're hoping to head inside soon so we can eat an early dinner. We do have to spray probably a third coat out there, but it's taking a little while to dry. And once it's completely done, we're going to put that caulking in those relief cuts. I'm grabbing some celery for what we're eating tonight. This little barrel in the ground has been working pretty awesome. It's the drain for the shop, but it's been working pretty good for the vegetables. Looks like those little leaves in there. This one looks good. This is all we need for tonight. That's the diesel heater running.
Today's gonna be one of those days that we haven't had in a long time. I don't think we're gonna get above freezing today. So it's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it's 28 degrees Fahrenheit. You can hear behind me that little exhaust pipe. I've got the diesel heater running in the chicken coop. It's not getting too cold in there right now, but I've just been kind of like turning it on and off, making sure everything's running smooth. We've gotten a ton of work done on the seed room. At this point, well, after tonight, when things dry up in there, it's gonna be ready for us to start using it. It's got a lot of work to do out there this winter. And one thing that we did want to get done before winter is we wanted to dig around the foundation and we wanted to put our foam board insulation in there. Hopefully we'll be okay this year without it. And we're just doing some things out here in the chicken coop. We're kind of making sure we're good to go for winter. So here's the insulated generator box we're gonna be using this year. That's our extra gas tank. We're gonna use the Honda out here to charge the batteries when there's no sun. So let's get it fired up and make sure everything's charging first off. Lights are working. The generator's fired up and it's working, so it's going through our inverter and it's charging our batteries. We don't actually need the generator quite yet. The 2 solar panels, they're bringing in enough power to charge the batteries. They're already full for the day. The diesel heater, she's been running great. We're all good to go there. We just got to keep putting gas in her, and we've got the automatic lights on already. They're at 12 hours of light right now. It is so dusty in here. I don't know where the dust comes from, but we're gonna vacuum out in here. We're gonna clean the whole room, and then I'm gonna check to make sure we have enough water in our batteries. The chickens will be set for winter. It's thick dust. There we go. That's where the Honda is going to sit for the season. It can stay warm in here. That way when we go to start it up, it's already warmed up. Things are going great out here. We've got the electric fencing and the charger put away. It was a good season for the chickens. We did lose 3, which isn't too bad. One was to a fox, one was to a hawk, and one was to the unknown. The chickens are getting mad. Let's go inside.
We're trying something we've never had before, and that is going to be cabbage lasagna. I know it sounds delicious, doesn't it? So we have some cabbages that we need to eat through. Yesterday I was down in our crawl space, and that's where the carrots, the potatoes, and the cabbages were. But I did notice that the cabbages were not faring that well down there. Probably because we put them in wood shavings and it was just too much moisture. In general, when you store these, you want them to have good circulation. I know last winter we were able to get away with storing them for a couple months, but these, they weren't looking that hot. So I got to them in time, I cleaned them off, I put some vinegar on them, and I have them outside in our ice chest. We still have good enough temperatures where I can kind of utilize it as a crisper, and it most likely won't freeze. At some point that's not gonna work. So we're trying to eat through these cabbages. This one didn't look so good yesterday, but I got it mostly cleaned up, and then I'm just gonna take off those not so good looking areas when we cut it up. That's the beauty of cabbages. You can just kind of like strip off the leaves. We're gonna get all our ingredients out and get this dinner put together. Okay, how much garlic would you like in this?
Look at that. That's a pound of meat right there. That's over a pound.
Bear meat. That's what I was thinking. The ingredients we have for our lasagna is bear meat with some tomato sauce, garlic, onions, and celery. We have some kefir cheese that we make from the yogurt, and it's got some herbs in there. And then we have pepper jack Swiss and Parmesan. And Eric went ahead and kind of blanched these cabbage leaves so they're easier to work with. Just because it's winter doesn't mean that we stop composting. So this is the process that we have here. We have like a little 2-gallon bucket. I think that's what it is. And this is our compost bucket inside the house. We fill it up pretty much every few days. It's full right now. So I'm gonna take it outside. We usually have a few 5-gallon buckets out here that we'll dump it into. That one is frozen since it's freezing outside right now. And if we want to dump these, we'll just bring them inside the house for like a day or two. It doesn't usually smell very good. And then we'll actually go bring them out to the compost pile that we have. So nothing's actually active right now because it's frozen, but it doesn't stop us from collecting all the food. Food in general here never goes into the garbage can. It either goes to the chickens or the compost if it's not feeding us. We're gonna bring this back inside and wait for dinner to be ready. Are you Dr. Evil?
Every day. She's got to lay on me, right? Very, very nice cat, though.